want to share a quick tip with you that I used in the journal, and it has to do with making your own labels. Now, if you get any kind of labels, return address labels, shipping labels, things like that, they always come on these slick papers, so the labels come off really easily, right? So I used this material with this is artist tape. You could use masking tape or whatever you have. You could even use the labels that come on that you get, the return address labels and stuff. You could make your own stickers, right? So there's all kinds of ways you can use labels, and you can use this backing material. It's just a really useful material to have around. So I just wanted to share this with any of you that might not know that you can do this, of making your own. It's kind of like making your own washi tape. Actually, yes, it's definitely one way you can make your own washi tape, because you could stick things on top of your masking tape. So there you go. And it's just stays good forever. You can, you can just make yourself a whole batch of labels. You can make your own washi tape. So that's just my quick tip for that. I've cut some paper to make a little notepad. So I don't know how many pages are there, but they're there. And I cut this, so they're all the same size. But what I'd like to do, and I haven't seen anybody else demo this, so I want to demo it because it's an old paper trick, at least to me. So you want to make sure that your edge you want at the bottom is nice and level. And then the trick is that when you bend the paper, the pages spread apart, and then you can grip that and let it relax, and they stay that way. And then you can bend it again, grip it, and let it relax, and you wind up with a waterfall that's super easy to make. I thought I would go one step further and ink the leading edge of those pages. I hadn't tried it this way before, but it seemed like a good idea. Okay, here we go. Let's do that again. Fan them out, squeeze, fan them out, squeeze. Well, got a little bit of change. Let me see if I can do it better. I'm going to do it direct. Oh yeah, that's going to work. All right. Now, fan them out, squeeze, relax. Fan them out, squeeze, relax. And you've got this nice waterfall. There's a little bit of ink on there. That's fine. So now what I want to do is cut this to size, right? All right, I need my board. And I know I want to cut it to, now this one is the shortest, and that's what size I want to cut it to. So I can just use that as a gauge to make it easier for you to see. There we go. That's the shortest one. And I'm just going to trim that off, and we'll all be ready to put on our cardboard. I like this kind. You get these at hardware stores. This is it's like a glass scraper. I like that I can grip it this way and get a lot of strength in my pull, because the ones that you use just a finger on, they're a little rough for comfort for me. So that's just why I'm using this type. Okay, so now this is nice and flat, which is great. So now there's a variety of different ways I could bind this, but I'm just going to go for the stapler. Yep, that works. And I think what I'll do, we can let that go now. Look at that, isn't that nice? We've got a super easy waterfall. Super, super easy. So what I'm going to do is just put a little washi tape on top to dress it up, and we will be all done. And that covers up the staples. Okay, quick and easy little notepad. This is going to go in the brown journal. All right. Next, I'm making the writing board, and I have this wonderful stamp. I used it in the first masculine theme brown journal. And there is an issue when you've got something long and skinny like that. It can be a problem because you don't want to cut too close to the image because there's less support. So I have trimmed it down quite a bit, but you can see in my preliminary test images, I was still getting some back printing, so I tried to wipe that off. Still got a teeny bit. So I am going to be very careful here because this is my piece of paper. It's a nice coffee dyed paper that I did. And so basically I've got one shot at this, at least on this side. I could do the other side or just get another piece of paper. So I want to ink up the main part of the image as much as possible. Get plenty of ink on it. Okay, so I am going to inspect it. I have some stamp cleaner here. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to see if I can just wipe off a little of that back printing without wiping off from the image I do want. And if I get a little teeny bit of back printing, I think I can live with that. So it's a little bit tedious. I think I may have it. I'm also putting it on an old catalog because that creates a little cushion. Get a better impression with a little bit of cushion. So let's see. I think, where do I want him in the cloud here? Let's see. I'm going to go with this direction. Put him up high. Okay, here we go. Putting a good amount of pressure on the main body of the image, not quite so much on the ah, that thing. Oh, good. Not bad, not bad at all. All right. It's just, I'm not even going to worry about that. This is just sort of a little ghosty image there. Okay, that's awesome. All right. So there we have that image. So now all I have to do, well, I still need this. Now all I have to do is glue up the two sides, and this will make a very nice writing board. Okay, we'll just do this quickly. All right. Now I have just a sliver of extra there, which I did deliberately. I figured I would trim it. I'd rather have more than enough than not enough. So I'll just trim off that little teeny sliver. Now we're flush all the way around. Okay. Well, we are ready. Right side up? Yes. Okay. We are ready for Don Quixote, and you can see I've got a little extra on that one as well. I think we can have some more fun with this too. All right, here goes. Okay, I'm making sure all the edges are down where they're supposed to be, and it looks like they are. All right, one last thing to do. And I'm going to, let's see, I think I'm just going to switch over to ground espresso. I'm laying down a little ground for our horse to stand on rather than just sort of floating in air. That works. Okay, do a little on the other side. The paper came with some already on it. The scrapbook paper. And you can always kind of slide along the edge to get the edge of that cardboard nicely inked. All right. So the writing board is done. I might add a little more texture down here. I kind of like the simplicity of it. The only extra thing I'm going to do here is that I am going to give it a coat of matte medium just to protect it, because Distress ink, if it gets wet, it will continue to move. The Memories dye ink is a permanent ink, so it won't. But I also just want to protect it because as a writing board, the idea is for it to get a lot of use, a lot of impact. So I'm going to give it a coat of matte medium. I'll go ahead and do that on both sides, and that will preserve the writing board. But I'll probably do a little more stamping. So, but not too much, because I like the simplicity of this. All right, that's the writing board. Okay. So for a finishing touch on this, I have a background stamp that looks like kind of a rocky ground. But one of the things that I discovered when I made that mini file folder thing is I could take a piece of, catalog paper, wad it up, and it makes great little dotty things, which you can see actually better back here. I put one of these stamps down, but it adds just that little touch of grunginess that, it's a free tool. You can scrub with it too. But it's a great little thing is to just use a little wadded up piece of paper. So that's finished except for the matte medium. And I will be doing that next and let it dry really, really well before I put it in the journal. All right, so that's all for that. And now I am ready to do the closure. The last little bit. Look at how fat it got. Okay, we're going to do a flip through in a separate video. This is the miscellaneous video. Okay, so I have chosen a short shank button. It has a very short shank. It has a nice contrast, which is attractive. This button you'll find out in a minute. I'm going to use the same book binding cord that I used for the actual binding. It works very well for this, and I did need to make sure the needle fit through here. Oh, it does. Okay, good. One does need to make sure that the needle fits into the buttons that you're going to use. Okay, it's a tight fit. It's a tight fit, but it does go through. That's what counts. And because blue is the secondary color, it just so happens I was given some of this leather cording that's, I think, going to work very well for the closure. If not, I have a couple of other options. So where am I going to put this button? I want it basically centered, and I want it off the edge a little bit. I don't want it right on the edge. After all, I've got plenty of overlap here, and that's what counts. So I'm just going to sneak under here. Yep. And I'm just going to give myself a little dot. That's all, just a little dot. So now, because this is so fat, I'm going to put the cushion under there, and I want 2 holes, right? I want 2 holes. And I'm thinking about this because I don't want to have 2 holes going this way because of the pulling on it that could more easily tear. So I'm going to put the 2 holes this way, and I'm going to give them a little bit of distance. I know I've got this backing button. We'll get to that. So I'm going to make sure that these holes are about 3/8 of an inch apart. And just get the hole started. Okay. Hole number 1. And it just wants to heal itself so quickly. And get their hole number 2. No poking the hole in here. Okay. So I want to, yeah. It's a little tricky because it doesn't like to show up too well. I can just see it. All right, the first one's going to be the hardest. All right, there it is. But I want to go through the button first. This is an old sewing trick. Golly, I have no idea when it first started to be done, but whenever you had old coats and stuff, this was on my mother's coats. Maybe they still do it, but they would back a button with a button on the other side, and that really helped make sure that it was made stronger that way. It was strengthened quite a bit. I want to leave a decent tail here so I have a tie off. And I'm going to go around 3 times because this is very strong cord, so I don't need to get carried away. So the first one's the trickiest because there we had to find the holes and we have to make sure we've got everything lined up nicely. Okay, well, the button fell off, but that's okay. We can feed that through. And this button has 4 holes, but I'm just using the 2 of them that are the farthest apart. Okay. Yeah, you're getting an idea here how fat this little guy is. Yes. Yeah, I might need to tighten this up as I go after I've got it through a few times. I'm reconsidering. I think I'm just going to have the 2 times around because it gets really, this is very strong cord, and it was difficult to get the needle through the holes on both buttons because of how well, narrow the holes are and how thick the cord is. So I think I'm just going to live with that. And I could have run the cord underneath. That's okay. That's all right. You know, there's all these little extra things to think about. Ah, but here's an idea. Maybe, let me see if I can finagle it. Let's try this. Maybe I can poke this through. Yeah, it doesn't look like that's going to work. My thought was that I could poke the cord through the other two holes and tie it in the back, but we're just going to have to leave this the way it is. All right. I think it's going to be plenty strong enough. Okay. Especially now, I have to decide whether this is going to be the right cord and how I am going to do it. It's pretty thick. Then it can tuck underneath. Well, I have some other cord that I'm going to try. I love this blue. I think this looks really cool. But I have another cord I'm going to try before I commit to this. This could, no, it really does need to, it works just having one. That works great. So, okay, here's the other thought. How about I leave this one and I tie a knot and just let that one be loose and bring this around. I know it looks like I'm being kind of awkward with this. uh, and then it can tuck underneath. And there's plenty of room for that because I do like this blue. I will go get another cord here and give that a try before I commit. Okay. Okay, as much as I like the color of this, and it kind of goes with the theme, I do have this more slender cord that is working much better. And it does match the button I picked out. So I am going to go with that. But I'm still going to leave a tail on one side and just wrap around with, let's see. Ah, oh, decisions, decisions. I still have to try it, right? I have to try it because I could just go around once. And how would that be? Well, I think maybe that's the better way. Yeah, instead of going around twice, because otherwise you wind up with this massively long tail. And that is not necessarily the easiest to work with when you're actually using the journal. All right, so I think if I just go around like that, okay. And I'm leaving myself extra because I might want to put a couple beads on here since I did sneak preview. I did put some beads down here. So I might put a couple of beads on here. So I want to leave that a little bit long. Well, let's just go for it. Okay, decision made. I don't want to pull too hard. Okay. Well, that's very nice. Nice looking. And that can always get tucked if it's trying to come out. That can always get tucked underneath too. Yeah, something like that. Okay. Uh, quest for beads. Right. Well, look what I found in my stash. They're like, they could, they're like worry beads. They have a nice, satisfying heft to them, and they go really well. I use these small, a little bit shinier beads because they match, they're the same beads that I used in the bookmark uh, strings that you'll see. So I went ahead and just did this. I just put them where I figured they should be after stuffing everything into the journal and wrapping it around and going like, I put a little bit of a pen mark so that I could tie a knot so they won't slide up. and then tied one at the bottom, and they just strung on super easy. So there it is. So I'm going to double check and make sure I've got everything in here that I want to have in here, and then we'll do the flip through. Okay, so that's really all I wanted to show you in this video was just those little things, little tips, little ideas, little playful things that I've been working on to finish this off. I've been working on it for it's been almost a month, hasn't it? All right. Please join me for the flip through. Thank you for watching. I hope you're inspired. And be sure to like and let me know you like it, right? So I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.